All right, let's talk about a skill that honestly feels like a superpower on the ACT science test. Looking at a bunch of data and predicting what's going to happen next.
I know. It sounds pretty intense, right? Like you need some kind of crystal ball. But trust me, by the time we're done here, you'll see it's not about magic. It's really just about logic and learning to see the story that the numbers are trying to tell you.
So first things first, why do we even need to care about this? Why is this such a big deal for the test?
Well, because this isn't some rare, out-of-the-blue question type. It's a core part of the test. The people who write the ACT really want to know if you can look at a chart or a graph and make a smart guess about what comes next. You're going to see these questions pop up all over the place. And here's the best part. This has nothing to do with memorizing a bunch of facts or complicated formulas. It's all about using the reasoning skills you use every single day. Seriously, if you can guess what's going to happen next in a TV show, you have what it takes to spot a trend in a dataset. Okay, so before you can predict anything, you've got to get good at one thing, spotting the pattern. This is the absolute first step. And I mean it, this is ground zero. Every single prediction question starts right here. You just have to look at the data and ask yourself one simple question. What is this stuff actually doing? And it usually boils down to one of three things. Are the numbers generally going up? Are they going down? Or are they kind of just staying the same? Don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. Just start with that basic observation. Now, once you know the direction, you can get a little more specific. Does that pattern look like it's forming a nice, straight, steady line? That's what we call a linear trend. Or is it curved? Maybe it shoots up fast and then starts to level off. That's nonlinear. Just being able to spot the basic shape is a huge, huge advantage. So yeah, this is your starting point. Before you even think about looking at specific numbers, just get a feel for the overall shape of the data. That first glance tells you pretty much everything you need to know. Okay, so you've spotted the trend. Awesome. Now comes the prediction part, and there are really two main ways the ACT is going to ask you to do this.
The first type is called interpolation. Now this is the safer, easier one. Think of it like this. If you know a plant was 5 centimeters tall on Monday and 15 centimeters tall on Wednesday, what's a good guess for Tuesday? Probably somewhere in the middle, right? Maybe around 10 centimeters. You're just filling in a blank. The second type is extrapolation. This is a little different. This is when you predict what happens after the data you have stops. So if a car has been steadily getting faster for 5 seconds, you can probably predict that at second 6, it'll be going even faster. You're just extending the pattern you already see. So let's just make sure we've got the difference down. Interpolation is like reading between the lines of the data you have. It's a pretty safe bet. Extrapolation is when you have to read beyond the last line of data, and that's where you've got to be just a little more careful. And this is a super important warning. Predicting what happens on day 6 based on 5 days of data, that's probably okay. But trying to predict what happens on day 600? Whoa, that's a huge leap. The trend could totally change by then. So remember, the farther out you predict, the less certain your prediction becomes. So whenever you see one of these questions, ask yourself, am I just filling in a gap in the middle of the data they gave me? Or am I trying to guess what happens after the whole experiment is over? Knowing which one you're doing is half the battle. All right, you get the ideas. Now let's turn this into a real, actionable game plan that you can actually use when you're sitting there on test day. Here it is, your 5-step strategy. Step 1, always know what you're looking at. Read the titles, look at the labels on the axes. Step 2, find that trend direction. Is it going up, down, or staying flat? Step 3, make a logical guess. Step 4, don't make up new rules or assume things the data doesn't support. And finally, step 5, your best friend on any multiple choice test, the process of elimination. Seriously, think of this as your secret weapon. For any prediction question they throw at you, you can just run down this checklist. It takes a problem that might feel confusing and turns it into a simple step-by-step process. I'm going to say this one more time because it's that important. Process of elimination is an absolute lifesaver. Even if you're not 100% sure what the right answer is, you can almost always spot the answers that are definitely totally wrong. If the graph is clearly going up, you can immediately cross out any answer choice that's lower than the last point. Easy.
And please, remember this. The ACT is not trying to catch you with some crazy, complex calculation on these questions. They just want to see if you can make a reasonable estimate. A ballpark guess, based on the trend you see, is usually all it takes to find the correct answer in the choices.
And that's really it. You know how to spot a trend, you know the difference between predicting inside the data and outside of it, and you've got a 5-step game plan to handle any question. You've got this.
This skill is so much bigger than just a test. Being able to see a pattern in the world and ask, okay, so what happens next? That's the heart of all science and curiosity. So take these tools, ace.test, and then just keep asking questions. What will you discover?